Hey y'all, it's Jeremy Osterberger. We're at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum, hosted by the Economic Alliance Houston Port Region. I'm here with Mr. Ron Abbott. Ron is Sustainability Technology Manager at Chevron Phillips Chemical. Ron, thank you so much for being on camera with us.
Glad to be here.
So Ron, you just got off the stage here at the Gulf Coast Industry Forum. Tell us about your responsibilities at CP Chem.
Right, so my responsibilities as CP Chem, Technology Manager for all sustainability efforts, primarily focused on the product side. So we're focusing most of our attention right now on advanced recycling. So taking waste plastics that are difficult to recycle, that mechanical recycling has a challenge with, and then broadening the opportunities so we can use those materials as feedstock, ultimately converting them into liquids, and then back into feedstock to make circular polymers. So that's really what's consuming the most of our time and attention right now, because we're trying to push towards a circular economy.
So, talk about some of the barriers, Ron. I mean, what are some of the challenges and maybe meeting goals and really making headway in advanced recycling?
Yeah, well, we're victims of our own success. We've managed to come up with very sophisticated packaging, polymers that do great things for food safety, for medical, etc. Those materials are very difficult to recycle mechanically. It's very difficult to take those, melt them, and make something useful out of them. But in the advanced recycling world, you can take those and break them back down to their molecular components. That's the beauty of this approach. So it's intended to be complementary to mechanical. We're trying to shoot towards the lowest carbon footprint possible to do this, and ultimately it's not combustion, it's degradation of the polymer back to a hydrocarbon state that we can then reuse. And the goal is to ultimately boost the recycling capabilities within the U.S. and eventually the world, to take these difficult to recycle materials, add those to the currently recycled materials, and get to targets that brand owners have announced for packaging going forward. So it's a target that's going to require multiple technologies, and that's really what we do every day. We're trying to find ways to accelerate this.
Ron, I asked you about challenges, but what's exciting? How are we doing? What's been exciting in new developments in advanced recycling?
I think one of the most exciting things is that advanced recycling is continuing to grow. We're seeing more and more announcements by us and our competitors. It's a team sport, so the more people that can get involved with this, the better off we are societally. We're starting to get the point across that plastics are not inherently evil, just like carbon is not inherently evil. It's the balance that's important. And ultimately, the goal is to end up with a societal advantage of the product, coupled with the ability to recover and reuse those hydrocarbons that go into them in the first place. So I'm excited about the technology improving, the infrastructure improving, more attention on collection. That's the biggest challenge right now. How do you get the material, the feedstock, because right now it's dispersed, and how do you engage the consumer, the waste collector on the back end of the process and get the feedstock back into the system so we can reuse these things effectively?
Ron, you talked about the team effort and some of the challenges and things like sorting. What is the responsibility of cities, municipalities, states, and individuals?
It's interesting. Cities really want to do the right thing. A lot of times they're trying to minimize the amount of plastics going into landfill, especially if you can reuse those. So there's a responsibility, but there's also an opportunity. So we're seeing more and more municipalities interested in engaging. We're seeing waste collecting companies, the majors out there making announcements on recycling capabilities. So they're investing in this, which is huge. That's so important to us, because now we can invest in this, we can start recovering these materials, now we can use them again. So you've got every process is based upon feedstock, and right now our feedstock is based upon waste. So we're trying to get a hold of that.
Well, Ron, I really appreciate your time. I thought the insight about the consumer demand in relationship to advanced recycling was really interesting.
Thank you. That's huge.
Yeah. So, well, Ron, thank you. And look, we'd love to have you on another time. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.